Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Qualified Opinions, the CPA Club Report. I'm Chris Vanover, and yep, today I'm actually talking about Donald Trump, and more specifically about the auditors for his newly public Trump Media and Technology Group, or TMTG, that now trades as a public company on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol DJT. So let's get into it and learn the truth. So as you can see here, Trump Media and Technology Group's website has a call to action that actually invites users to, quote, follow the truth. And as disclosed in its most recently filed financial statements, the mission of TMTG is to, quote, end big tech's assault on free speech by opening up the internet and giving people their voices back. And as many of us know, they operate Truth Social, another social media platform. So since they so kindly invited me to follow the truth, I'm going to do exactly that, dig in, and find out the truth behind their auditor, a firm called BF Borgers. So TMTG, which operates the social media platform Truth Social, reported in its most recent SEC filing that it actually lost $58 million in 2023 and generated just $4 million of revenue. The audit firm actually got some attention in the media because they rightfully issued a going concern opinion against TMTG, casting substantial doubt about its ability to continue. So who audited TMTG? None other than BF Borgers. They've actually been the auditors of TMTG dating back to 2022 when they were a private company and will now serve as the independent registered public accounting firm of the new public TMTG going forward. But who are they? Well, they're a firm headquartered in Colorado, and they're led by their managing partner, Ben Borgers. They have about 50 people on their team, 10 of whom are CPAs, and a staggering 96% of their total client fees were actually for issuer audits. And even Accounting Today reported that this Colorado-based auditor actually dominated the 2020 and 2021 rankings of firms bringing on the most new SEC clients. In fact, for 3 consecutive quarters in 2021, they actually topped that list. But let's find out even more about them. All right, so let's start with some of the publicly available information from the firm's very own website. I've got up here a few screenshots from their various web pages, and you see things like commitment to excellence. Quality service is the foundation of any successful accounting and tax firm. Our firm's reputation reflects the high standards we demand of ourselves. Performs 10K audits and 10Q quarterly reviews according to PCAOB standards for over 80 publicly traded companies around the world. Those words, they all sound great to the buyer. But what's the truth? So what you see here is an actual screenshot from the PCAOB's most recent inspection report of BF Borgers that was made public back on November 7th, 2023 for the 2022 inspection. The nice thing about the report is that it actually provides a historical snapshot too. And as you can see, Borgers is batting 1,000, but not in a good way. The PCAOB inspected 9 issuer audits in 2019 and found that 8 of them actually had Part 1A deficiencies. In other words, they didn't have sufficient audit evidence in order to render the opinion they did at the time they did. The PCAOB came back 2 years later and inspected another 10 issuer audits, but it got worse. All 10 of those had deficiencies. And so the PCAOB made another visit a year later, and this time they looked at 11 engagements, and yep, they found deficiencies in all 11 issuer audits that Borgers had performed that were selected for inspection by the PCAOB. But that's just the overall numbers. Let's dive into the actual facts a little bit deeper. So just a couple screenshots from the PCAOB Auditor Search website. And as you can see here, other than the most recent inspection report, the PCAOB has actually aired BF Borgers' dirty laundry for its 3 previous inspections. And on top of that, there's even a couple of disciplinary orders against BF Borgers professionals. So now we're going to dive into the part two of the inspection report that I like to call the dirty laundry. And this is where the PCAOB actually memorializes its quality control criticisms against the firm. Now, firms have an entire 12-month period from when they get the report to actually address these non-public criticisms. But if they don't do it in a satisfactory manner within that 12 months, the PCAOB then has the right to publicly disclose the Part 2 quality control criticisms. And that's what you see here on the screen is the first of those quality control criticisms. And it has to do with something that is really rare to see in the PCAOB inspection report, starting with the tone at the top. And it indicates the inspection results say that the firm's system of quality control doesn't provide reasonable assurance that the firm will comply with PCAOB standards in the firm's issuer audit practice. And they mention an appropriate tone at the top is important to maintaining and improving audit quality. An appropriate or inappropriate tone and the actions of leadership can have far-reaching effects on the firm's culture and on its professionals, including how firm professionals execute their responsibilities as auditors. They go on to say, in a significant portion of Borgers' audit work reviewed in their inspection, the inspection team identified deficiencies in the performance of the work. They also identified deficiencies in the firm's system of quality control. They mention the continued high level of instances of non-compliance with PCAOB standards or rules and quality control defects noted in both the 2021 and 2019 inspection raises concerns about the effectiveness of the firm's system of quality control and the firm's ability to consistently perform audits in accordance with PCAOB standards and rules. Contrast that to the messaging you saw on Borgers' own website and their commitment to excellence. It indicates here specifically that despite the high rate of deficiencies, the firm significantly increased its number of issuer audit clients in the last 2 years without a corresponding increase in the number of firm partners. As a result, the firm's leadership does not appear to be sufficiently balancing firm growth with ensuring audit quality. In the following paragraph, they talk about a litany of audit performance issues. They had observations on things like testing estimates, testing revenue-related accounts, testing data and reports, fraud procedures, firm independence, audit reports, communication with audit committees, audit reporting of certain audit participants, compliance with audit documentation requirements, engagement quality review, and even state practice qualification requirements. And the PCAOB sums it up by saying, this apparent lack of accountability demonstrated by the firm's leadership may cause the firm's professionals to assume a similar attitude related to audit quality. That is really troubling stuff, but it doesn't stop there. The PCAOB keeps it coming in this expanded report, talking about the acceptance of clients and engagements and partner workload. And I want to go down to the middle paragraph here. The firm significantly increased its number of issuer audit clients from 80 in 2019 to 168 at the outset of the 2021 inspection. In accepting these new clients, the firm did not take into account the level of proficiency required for the firm's partners in the circumstances, as well as competing time demands on the partners assigned to lead and execute the audits and perform the engagement quality reviews for all of its issuer audits. For example, during the year, there was one engagement partner who was responsible for 147 issuer audits. Further, there was one engagement quality reviewer who was responsible for 103 issuer audits and another who was responsible for 74 issuer audits. This is really troubling stuff, and this is the truth, and it keeps coming. Those were some pretty startling facts revealed by the PCAOB in its publicly available expanded inspection report of BF Borgers, but our friends north of the border and the US equivalent of the PCAOB up in Canada, the Canadian Public Accountability Board, actually took it a step further back in January of this year. What they did was they actually banned BF Borgers from accepting new audit clients in Canada. And Canadian Accountant, in their article, shows information from Audit Analytics that talks about BF Borgers as having the distinction of acquiring the highest number of new engagements in Canada in 2022. And they also talk down below, in addition to the ban, which includes public companies and any existing private company audit client seeking to become a reporting issuer through initial public offering, reverse takeover, the firm is prohibited from assigning an unidentified partner A to Canadian engagements. I'll make the connection in just a moment. So let's bring it back to the PCAOB. And after doing a quick auditor search of BF Borgers on the PCAOB website, I did uncover the fact that the firm recently filed a Form 3 for the purpose of disclosing certain proceedings against the firm. And as you can see here in the extract on the screen, it's the state of Colorado against none other than Ben Borgers. Let's dive into the details a bit more. So based on the information that was filed in that Form 3 by BF Borgers, I was able to track down that the State Board of Accountancy within the state of Colorado actually had a disciplinary action that they executed against Ben Borgers. Let's look at the details. These are the actual findings of fact and conclusions of law where the respondent, BF Borgers and Ben Borgers, are specifically admitting, and the board is actually finding fault with the performance of its audits unrelated to its PCAOB issuer audits. You can see in here that they didn't present in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards as required by ERISA. They also failed to exercise due care in the performance of professional services, and they failed to meet generally accepted accounting principles or generally accepted auditing standards in the profession. So again, what does this lead to is the next natural question. So the State Board of Accountancy for Colorado actually required BF Borgers and Ben Borgers to pay a fine of $5,000 for its deficient audits. Now, some of you may be questioning whether $5,000 is truly a penalty for this firm who continues to generate the revenue it does from its audit business. Regardless of that, this particular fine and this order became a permanent public record by the State Board of Accountancy for Colorado when it was executed back on March 14th of 2024. Ben Borgers. That name should probably stick out by now from what you see here on the screen, but also what you've heard up until this point. And if you actually go to the auditor search function within the PCAOB website and look up BF Borgers, you'll also find a public list of Form APs that are required to be filed for every issuer audit that includes various data points. One of those data points is actually the engagement partner. Now, I'm only showing you the first 2 pages from the PCAOB website, but you can see here that BF Borgers has filed a ton of Form APs, most recently on February 29th, 2024. They've already filed 12 in just the first 2 months of this year, and I actually counted the number of Form APs they've filed since January 1st, 2023, and counted nearly 200. And guess what? Every single one of those had Ben Borgers listed as the engagement partner. Now, we could also dig into each of these issuers and likely uncover the audit fees paid to BF Borgers, but even if we assume an extremely conservative $10,000 per issuer audit engagement, that puts total revenues from these nearly 200 issuer audits at $2 million in the pocket of Ben Borgers. So I followed the truth. Is this really a managing partner of a CPA firm committed to excellence? Do these issuer audit companies have any idea how many audit reports Ben has personally signed off on in the past year? Has he revealed the truth to his clients? Probably not. Ben Borgers continues to collect his audit fees, might end up paying a paltry PCAOB fine and subject himself to possible disciplinary order from the PCAOB, but by that time, he'll likely sell his book of business and laugh all the way to the bank. This is the truth about public accounting and BF Borgers. And because of that, we have to ask, should we trust the Trump media financials audited by BF Borgers? I'll let you decide. But for now, this is Qualified Opinions.